The silent scream, music the bioships, came without warning, emerging from the dark spaces between stars like a plague. Given form, the Kelly had ruled their sector of space for 3,000 years, their crystalline cities spanning 12 worlds, their technology praised as the pinnacle of galactic achievement. They had cured diseases, mastered energy manipulation, and built structures that defied gravity itself, but none of it mattered now. Arch-scientist Velora stood in the central command sphere of Kella Prime, watching her world die. The transparent dome above showed the nightmare unfolding in orbit. The Drainer swarm had arrived 6 days ago, and nothing the Kelly threw at them made any difference. Their energy weapons simply fed the creatures. Their quantum missiles were absorbed and converted into more biomass. Every defense they erected was consumed and turned against them. The Draw were not ships in any traditional sense. They were living organisms, each the size of a cruiser, breeding and evolving in real time. They learned from every attack, adapted to every strategy. The swarm grew stronger with each passing hour, feeding on the very technology the Kelly had spent millennia perfecting. It was a horror beyond comprehension, and the worst part was the silence. No demands, no communication, just relentless consumption. We are being eaten alive, Velora thought, her three-fingered hands trembling as she manipulated the holographic controls. And no one cares. She had sent distress signals to every member of the Galactic Council. The Terranthians, who had traded with the Kel for centuries, responded with regrets and withdrew their embassy ships. Zephroni Empire, ancient and powerful, declared the situation a regional problem. The Crystalline Collective simply went silent, their star systems closing all communication channels. Even the peaceful Lumrians who preached unity and cooperation offered only prayers before sealing their borders. The message was clear across the galaxy: better the keel than us. Let the swarm feed there, perhaps it will be satisfied, and leave the rest of us alone. Defense Minister Kron approached, his scales dulled with exhaustion. The evacuation fleet managed to escape with 30,000 souls, he reported, his voice hollow. Out of 8 billion, Thera closed her eyes. 30,000. It was not even a fraction of a percent. The Drainer had established a blockade around every Kel 3 world. Simultaneously, most evacuation attempts ended with the ships being consumed, their passengers absorbed into the ever-growing swarm. The colony on Vexor 3. She asked, though she already knew the answer. Silence. We lost contact 4 hours ago. Kron's voice cracked. They're taking everything, Velora, our people, our worlds, our entire civilization, and the galaxy watches from a safe distance. The command sphere shook as another section of the orbital defense grid was torn apart. Through the dome, Velora could see the bioships moving closer, their grotesque forms pulsing with stolen energy. They looked like massive organs suspended in space, veins of light running through translucent flesh. Some had begun to show crystalline structures on their surface, mimicking Kelly technology in a twisted parody of their achievements. Junior technician LSS, barely out of the academy, spoke up from her station. Arch-scientist, there is one power we have not contacted. Everyone turned to look at her. Young Kel's skin flushed with bioluminescent nervousness under their collective gaze, but she continued. The humans, they joined the Galactic Council 30 cycles ago, but they have remained Isolated, they established minimal contact and have not participated in any conflicts or alliances. Kron made a dismissive gesture. The humans are primitives. They barely achieved faster than light travel a few decades ago. What could they possibly do against a threat that has defeated our greatest weapons? Respectfully, Minister, we do not know what they can do, House replied, her voice gaining strength. No one does. They have been remarkably secretive about their capabilities. They attend council meetings but share nothing of their military strength or technology level. Some species believe they are weak, but others wonder why a weak species would be so quiet. Valora studied the young technician. There was logic in her words. The humans were an enigma. They had appeared on the galactic stage with functional FTL drives, established a handful of trade agreements, and then retreated into their small corner of space. Unlike every other species that had joined the Council, humans did not boast of their achievements or display their military power. They simply existed at the periphery, watching and learning. What do we have to lose? Thera said finally. Send a message to Earth, direct and simple. Tell them what is happening. Tell them everyone else has abandoned us. Tell them we are dying. The communications team worked quickly, composing a message stripped of all diplomatic formality. There was no time for the careful language of interstellar politics. The message was raw, desperate, and honest to the government and people of Earth. We are the Keelery. The Drar swarm is consuming our civilization. Our technology cannot stop them. All other powers have abandoned us. 8 billion souls face extinction. If you can help in any way, please respond. This is our final transmission. The message was sent across all frequencies, broadcast widely enough that half the galaxy would intercept it. Thera did not care anymore. Pride and secrecy meant nothing to the dead. Hours crawled by like years. The Drar advanced steadily, their biohips now visible with the naked eye from the planet's surface. Cities burned as they prepared for the inevitable landing. The swarm did not simply destroy, it consumed everything, breaking down matter at the molecular level and incorporating it into more of itself. Velora was reviewing evacuation tunnels, trying to save a few hundred more lives when the communications console erupted with activity. Arch scientist, the operator called out, voice tight with disbelief. We have a response. It is from Earth. The command sphere fell absolutely silent. Every Kelly present turned toward the holographic display as it flickered to life. A human face appeared, female. Velora thought, though human gender differences were subtle to Kel eyes. The human wore a dark uniform with minim markings, her expression calm and controlled, her eyes though held something that made Valora's breath catch. Not pity, not sympathy, but cold, calculated determination. I am Commander Sarah Chin of the United Earth Defense Force, the human said, her voice steady and precise. We have received your distress call and verified your situation through our monitoring networks. Help is en route. Transmit all data on the Drar swarm. Biological composition, attack patterns, adaptation rates, and current positions. Our advanced fleet will arrive in 14 hours. Chin out. The transmission ended as abruptly as it had begun. The Kel stared at each other in stunned silence. 14 hours, Kron finally stammered. That is impossible. Earth is 8 days away at Maximum FTL speed. There are no human vessels in our sector. Our long-range sensors would have detected them, she said. Advanced fleet, Ellis whispered. That implies there is more coming behind them. Velora felt something she had not experienced in days. Hope. It was fragile and possibly foolish, but it was there. The humans had not offered sympathy or made diplomatic excuses. They had simply stated that help was coming, as if it were the most natural response in the universe. Send them everything, Valera ordered. Every scan, every analysis, every failed defense strategy. If they are truly coming, they will need all the data we have. As they Kelly transmitted their accumulated knowledge, Valera allowed herself to wonder, what were the humans bringing? What could they possibly have that would succeed where Kel science had failed? And why had they kept it secret from the galaxy? In 14 hours they would have their answer if they survived that long. The answer no one saw coming. The longest 14 hours in Kelly history crawled forward like a wounded creature. Valera had not slept, surviving on stimulants that made her thoughts sharp. But her hands shake. The drawer swarm had advanced closer, their biohips now entering the upper atmosphere of Kella. Prime organic tendrils descended from the largest vessels, touching down on the northern continent and beginning the consumption process. Entire cities vanished within hours, their matter converted into more swarm mass. Evacuation tunnels had saved another 1,000 lives, but it was meaningless against the scale of the catastrophe. Valera watched the planetary defense grid fire its last salvos, energy beams that the drainer absorbed with grotesque efficiency. The creatures pulsed with stolen light, growing larger and more complex with each passing moment. Contact, the sensor operator suddenly shouted, breaking the oppressive atmosphere in the command sphere. Multiple signatures emerging from FTL. Grid coordinates 77 Alpha. They are coming in behind the swarm formation. Valor's heart's hammered in her chest. Identification, unknown configuration. The energy signatures do not match any recorded species in the galactic database. Wait, we are receiving a transmission. It is the humans. Commander Chen's face appeared again, but this time the view expanded to show the bridge of her vessel. It was utilitarian, almost primitive compared to Kel aesthetics. No elegant curves or artistic displays, just efficient functionality. Behind Chin, Valera could see other humans moving with practice precision at their stations. Arch Scientist Velora, this is Commander Chin. The first wave has arrived. We are engaging the drawer swarm now. Keep your people in sheltered positions. This is going to look strange, but trust the process. Chin out. Trust the process. What did that mean? Valor switched the main display to show tactical sensors. What she saw made no sense. The human fleet was not large, perhaps 40 vessels, each roughly frigate-sized by galactic standards. They were angular and dark, without the sleek elegance most species favored, but it was their approach that defied all conventional warfare doctrine. Instead of maintaining defensive formations or establishing firing lines, the human ships spread out in a seemingly random pattern, moving erratically through space. They are not following any known tactical formation. Kron observed, his scales flushing with confusion. It looks almost chaotic. Drachner swarm reacted as it always did, converging on the new threat with terrifying coordination. Biohips turned as one organic weapons charging with stolen energy. Valor had seen this. Response destroy entire Keeley battle. Groups, the swarm would envelop the enemy, drain their power systems, and incorporate their technology into itself, but the humans did not fire their energy weapons. They did not launch quantum missiles or deploy force shields. Instead, they did something that made every Kel 3 in the command sphere gasp in horror. They released organisms. Thousands upon thousands of small objects erupted from the human ships, spreading through space and controlled patterns. At first, Valora thought they were missiles or drones, but the sensor readings told a different story. These were biological entities, living creatures deployed into the void by the ancients. Ellis whispered, her skin flashing with shock. They are using life as weapons. The Drainer swarm reached the cloud of organisms and did exactly what it had evolved to do. It consumed them. Bioships opened, feeding orifices, drawing in the human deployed creatures by the thousands. The swarm pulsed with satisfaction, biomass increasing as it absorbed this unexpected meal. Thera felt her hope shatter. The humans had brought biological weapons against a biological enemy. It was worse than useless. It was feeding the very threat they were supposed to fight. Commander Chin, Velora transmitted, trying to keep desperation from her voice. You are making it stronger. The swarm consumes biological matter and converts it. You must stop before 30 seconds. Shin interrupted calmly. Watch 30 seconds. Until what? Velora stared at the tactical display as the Drar swarm gorged itself on human organisms. Bioships were glowing brighter now, their mass increasing rapidly. This was a disaster. Humanity had come to help, and instead delivered a feast to their executioner. Then the first Drainer biohip convulsed. It was subtle at first, a shudder running through the massive organism's translucent flesh. Then another ship spasmed, and another. Within moments, the entire swarm was writhing in what could only be described as agony. What is happening? Kron demanded, leaning forward to study the sensor data. The answer came from the science station. The organisms the humans deployed are attacking from inside. They are not being converted. They are converting the Drainer. Valor's mind raced to comprehend what she was witnessing. The Drainer swarm, which adapted to every attack, which learned from every defense, which consumed and incorporated all technology and biology it encountered, was being consumed itself. The human organisms were not sophisticated energy beings or quantum constructs. They were simple, primitive, and utterly relentless biological warfare. Valora breathed, but not weapons designed in laboratories. These are natural organisms from Earth. Commander Chen's voice came through the open channel, now broadcasting to both the Keel 3 and across all frequencies, so that watching galaxy could hear. The organisms you are witnessing are Earth bacteria, viruses, and engineered phages. The Drar swarm's greatest strength is its ability to consume and adapt, but adaptation requires time and evolutionary pressure. We gave them neither. On the display, the first biochip tore itself apart from within. Bacterial colonies spread through its structure faster than its immune response could adapt, breaking down cellular walls and disrupting neural pathways. The Drainer had evolved to handle the sophisticated biological defenses of advanced civilizations. It had no preparation for the relentless Simplicity of Earth microorganisms. The swarm learns from complex threats, Chin continued, her voice carrying across space. It expects technology, energy, intelligence. We gave it Earth raw, unfiltered, and billions of years of evolutionary warfare compressed into microscopic packages. More bioships were failing now, their bioluminescence flickering as internal systems collapsed. The swarm tried to purge the infection, ejecting contaminated mass into space, but it was too late. The human organisms had spread throughout the entire formation. Every attempt to consume and adapt only spread the infection further. Valera watched in awe as the nightmare that had destroyed her civilization tore itself apart. The Drainer swarm, so alien and unstoppable, had never encountered anything like Earth, a world where life had competed and consumed itself for eon, developing survival strategies that made the swarm's adaptations look primitive by comparison. We spent 30 years studying your galaxy, Shin said, her tone matter of fact. We learned that most species here evolved on peaceful worlds with minimal biological competition. Your bacteria are cooperative, your viruses are rare, your immune systems fight occasional infections, not constant warfare. Earth is different. Life on our world has always been a battle. Every organism is a weapon, shaped by 4 billion years of biological arms race. The largest drawer bioship, the one that had been coordinating the swarm's assault on Kela Prime, shuddered and went dark. Its massive form began to break apart, chunks of contaminated biomass drifting away like grotesque satellites. Our scientists were horrified when they learned about the Drainer, Chin continued, a biological threat that consumes and adapts. On Earth we call that Tuesday. Every organism on our planet faces that challenge every moment of every day. We did not need to invent weapons to fight the swarm, we just needed to introduce it to home. Kron was shaking his head in disbelief. They kept their capabilities secret because they knew how terrifying this would appear. A species that weaponizes the very building blocks of life itself. More human ships were arriving now, dropping out of FTL in perfect intervals. These were larger vessels, carrier class if had to guess. They took up positions around Kela Prime and the other Kel worlds, deploying what looked like containment fields. The infection will burn itself out within 3 planetary rotations, Chin explained. We are establishing quarantine zones to ensure no contaminated biomass reaches your worlds. Our medical teams will arrive shortly to verify that none of the Earth organisms pose a threat to Keeler biology. Initial scans suggest you are incompatible hosts, but we take no chances with biohazards. Valera felt tears streaming down her face, bioluminescent tracks of relief and wonder. The Drainer swarm, unstoppable force that had consumed 12 Kel worlds, was dying, not from superior technology or overwhelming firepower, but from microscopic organisms that humanity had simply collected from their home world. Commander Chin, Valera transmitted, her voice thick with emotion. Why did you help us? The entire galaxy abandoned us. You owed us nothing. For the first time, Chen's expression softened slightly. We received a distress call from people facing extinction. What else would we do? On Earth we have a saying, when someone is drowning, you don't ask what they can offer you in return, you pull them out of the water. She paused, glancing at something off-screen before continuing. Besides, we have been monitoring galactic politics since we joined the Council. We saw how quickly everyone abandoned you when the threat appeared. We saw the fear and the cowardice. Humanity learned long ago that if you want to know someone's true character, watch how they treat those who cannot benefit them. The galaxy failed that test. We chose to pass it. The last of the Draenor bioships went dark, floating debris in space. The swarm that had threatened to consume everything was now just contaminated biomass, broken down by organisms too simple to negotiate with and too successful to overcome. Valora looked around the command sphere. At her people, they were crying, laughing, embracing each other. Relief. 30,000 Kel had escaped in evacuation ships, but because of humanity, 8 billion more would survive. The galaxy will want to know what happened here, Kron said quietly. When they learn what humanity is capable of, there will be fear, perhaps even hostility. Chen's expression turned cold again. All business, let them be afraid. We kept our nature secret because we hoped to build trust, gradually to prove that humans could be peaceful neighbors despite our violent evolution. But the galaxy abandoned you to save themselves. They revealed their values. Now we reveal ours. We are a species forged in biological warfare, and we do not abandon those who call for help. Additional human vessels continued arriving, but these carried medical personnel and engineers. True to Chen's word, humanity was not content with simply destroying the threat. They were here to help rebuild, to ensure that the Keel 3 recovered fully. As Valora watched the human fleet organize relief efforts with the same terrifying efficiency they had shown in combat, she understood something profound. The galaxy had dismissed humanity as primitive newcomers, weak because they were young. They had been catastrophically wrong. Humanity was not weak. They had simply been waiting, watching, and hoping they would never need to show the galaxy what evolution on a death world truly meant. The Celery had called for help in their darkest hour, and humanity had answered in a way no one expected, with weapons older than civilization itself and compassion that seemed to defy their violent nature. The galaxy would never look at Earth the same way.